In this presentation, what I try to do is to really look what's going on in the economic relations between the three countries, and to make it as short as possible because we have the time limits here. Now, and the approach that I did is firstly to look through the prism of the geoeconomic analysis, and secondly go to the trade relations or the classic international economic relations themselves. Now, if we look at the geoeconomic space today, we see there are basically two trends. The main trend is the redivision of the labor of the geoeconomic space. When we see West moving from the industrial era towards the knowledge economy, trying to sell to the world knowledge and try to collect from the world the so-called innovation brand, constantly selling new innovations and new knowledge. Now, and we also see the trend of industrialization in the East, and we can call it the New East, because this is the New East that we didn't see before 30 years ago. The East, the countries around it, countries, China and countries around them become more like world manufacturers. That's where we see the new division of labor today. And we also, those are the two main, so to say, regions forming today in the geoeconomic space. We also have some other regions forming today. The third one is the so-called South, that provides to those two the raw materials and the primary goods. We also have the Deep South. The Deep South is the region with the region of the social collapse. The countries that are involved with the trade with the drugs and weapons, etc. Right? We can name. They also have names, right? Golden Crescent, Golden Triangle, and places like this. Now, and we also have another one that we touched here is so-called Russian world. I would call peace-oriented Russian world, or even real-oriented Russian world today. And in this setup, our three countries need to find their niche, towards which region to move, because in this reorganization of the geoeconomic space, the geoeconomic competition takes a form of pushing the competitor towards unfavorable region. And here, then we mean neither West nor East. Now, basically, I made this slide to show just what I just described. The red line is the geoeconomic axle of the world, and all countries try to move towards the geoeconomic axle of the world. Now, this axle moved from Atlantics 30 years ago on Eurasia today. That's why the things in Eurasia became so important. Right? And now, of course, in this setup, those regions create a certain gravitation against themselves, both Russians, West and East and South. And our three countries need to have as an aim to create a favorable gravitation towards, hopefully, West, but definitely not the other three, and maybe to the East. Right? Now, we have a couple of factors that create that favorable gravitation for us. First, our involvement in the energy security of Europe, our involvement in providing the transit routes to Russia, to West and China, which pushes us away from South, especially the Deep South, and closes and locks the road backwards, and gives us the motive to move forward towards the core of the geoeconomic space. Now, I'm making one more remark about this, and then move to more elaborate things. Each of these spaces, they have got their own centers and the cores. Say West being US and the founding countries of the European Union, periphery and the semi-periphery, movement towards the certain region lays only through the periphery. So we can't jump directly to the center, only to the periphery. And that's why we can understand the difference of the attitudes of the European Union towards Turkey and Ukraine, whereas Turkey would definitely not want to go to the periphery and would count on the semi-periphery of the European Union. Ukraine made the choice of saying no to the core of Russian growth in favor of the periphery of the West. Now, the second trend in the world market, it relates to the tense competition between the nations and their companies. In today's technological world, basically no single nation can compete alone in the world market. The production became so technological that the nations need to form the alliances to go to the world market and take their share from the world market. A good example is Airbus. Not being able to compete against Boeing, the European nations formed Airbus to compete with them, and they were quite successful. That trend is called clustering. The nations create clusters to compete in the world market. In our opinion, public mobility cars is a good example of the cluster, where we go to the world market with a cluster to provide our services. And I think that's one of the things that the three countries need to continue doing. Now, I also look really what's happening in the economic relations, foreign economic relations between the three countries, kind of going from the mega level to the macro level, and taking the digits only from the statistical bureaus of the three countries. Now, foreign trade turnover of Azerbaijan and Georgia with Turkey makes only less than 1%, or the 10th of the percent of the total trade turnover of Turkey. So there's a huge room to increase that turnover. We're not trading much with turnover with the capacity that Turkey can provide to those two countries. Secondly, Azerbaijan tops the list of the export partners of Georgia, and is number 3 on the list of the import partners of Georgia after Turkey and China. Now, those are a bit strange figures. That's why I decided to look at the indexes of openness of those countries. How much these countries are open to each other for the trade, really. And those are the indexes that we received. The digits are quite small, but the size is not important. Important is the dynamics. We see that the openness of Georgian economy towards both the economy of Azerbaijan and Turkey increases, whereas we don't see the dynamics between Turkey and Azerbaijan. This means there are still trade barriers there that those two countries need to try to eliminate. Maybe they're not direct barriers, but maybe there are indirect barriers. And this is also in line with the free trade agreements of Georgia with the both countries, where the openness of Georgia will increase towards those two countries. Now, to see how the three economies really relate to each other, we calculated the correlation coefficients between the GDPs of the three countries, and we see that the correlation coefficients are quite high of GDPs. So the GDPs go together. One thing, the business cycles are coinciding with each other, which is a good indicator. If we calculate this against Brazil, the correlation will not happen. We also calculated the correlation between the foreign trade turnovers of the three countries, and here we got the very strange figures. The correlation of the foreign trade turnovers of three countries is quite low on the three countries, especially between Azerbaijan and Georgia, meaning the trade turnovers of those countries increase or decrease, not influencing each other. Meaning those countries basically develop They have foreign relations, not with each other, but with other countries. Especially that's true between Georgia and Azerbaijan. Nevertheless, we are, like I said before, on the #1 in the list of export of Georgia. Now, another thing what I did is to calculate how much the trade between the pairs of the countries influence their GDP, if there is a correlation there, and we still see quite a low number between Azerbaijan and Turkey, which is in line with the previous digits. However, the digits between the coefficients between Georgia and Turkey are quite high, 0.96, 97. This means the trade between those countries influences their increase of their GDP. Now, finishing with the flow of the goods, we also decided to look at the flow of the capital between the three countries, because, and in the form of the foreign direct investment. Now, the share of Turkey in the foreign direct investments into Azerbaijan was approximately 2%, not deviating from that too much through the last 10 years, only lately went to 4%. The share of Turkey in foreign direct investment in Georgia was 5%, and went to 8% in 2014. However, the trend line is declining, meaning we can say that Turkey is withdrawing its foreign direct investments from Georgia, or not increases it with the speed that the Georgian economy would require to put it mildly. The share of Azerbaijan in foreign direct investments of Georgia was always around 9%, and jumped to 24% in 2014. Now, to look a bit more precisely at the figures, we made the trend lines, and I also extracted the equations for the trend lines to see what's happening there, and that's in line with the previous figures. That the foreign direct investment to Azerbaijan, of Turkey to Azerbaijan, as you see, has an upward slope, right? And it increases a very small amount of 23,000 per year. When we look at the share of Turkey in the foreign direct investments to Azerbaijan, you see the difference is zero. The digit between before X is almost zero, meaning there's no changes there, and it deviates between around 2% all the time. Now, I also made the same for Georgia. The foreign direct investment of Turkey to Georgia has a downward slope, as you see, and it decreases at the velocity of 2,842 thousandths per year. When we look at the foreign direct investment of Azerbaijan to Georgia, then we see the increase of 11,226 thousandths per year. Now, the important point here is the R squares. The R squares are very small digits. This means that the investment decisions between those countries are made not only based on the economic factors. Otherwise, the investments will flow more at the even speed. Right? And I think that's one of the things that the countries need to clean to get, say, the political factors out of the economic decisions. Now, to conclude the whole thing up, what we found and what we offer is, firstly, we understand that the countries are heavily dependent on each other geo-economically. They need to make a joint geo-economic cooperation and the competition in the geo-economic space. Otherwise, we'll face the risk of being pushed towards south or deep south and places like that. Firstly. Secondly, the trade turnover between the countries has a room and needs to be increased, and the trade barriers need to be decreased, which are basically so mathematically that they are in place. And the countries need to increase their share in the world trade or in the world income by more aggressively acting in the world trade themselves in the form of the clusters. That will increase the microeconomic level of integration and increase, add more economic content to the relations of the three countries, and will have an impact on the increase of the living standards of the population of the three countries.